me getting 6 points and we win. So that team was so unselfish, man, and they had been through some pain and some hurt because the year before we were 15-1 in conference. We were 22-9 overall, I believe, and we lost in the first round, well, the second round of the MEAC, to a really good basketball team at the time who went on to win it. And there were some things where we dropped the ball, both as a coaching staff and as players. And when we got back to campus, I remember calling Poobie Chapman and Jeremy Ingram into my office. And I told them, y'all got to grow up, man. Like, that's all to it. Like, if you don't want to feel this pain again, you got to grow up, man. Because if you don't, there's a possibility that we can be right back in here next year feeling the same pain. Now, with that said, our preseason player of the year transferred and left us, Stanton Kidd. He decides to go to Colorado State. God bless him. So now people are saying, like, they're not going to win it. They're not going to be back. And that was the motivating factor. And we had Poobie and Jeremy and KJ and Alfonso Houston, man. And we just had kids that bought into a role and wanted something greater than themselves. And that's the most enjoyable thing on earth, is to be a part of something that's bigger than you. And the confidence just came from the beginning of the year. And we went to Cincinnati, and we were banged up, but they beat us by 7 or 8. We were in the game. Then we played NC State, and I thought we could beat them. And the craziest thing about that NC State game, and I don't tell this story often, that summer when we scheduled NC State, Poobie Chapman came in my office and said, "Oh, we playing State?" And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Mark that game down. We're going to win that game." And I was like, "Man, what you talking about, man? Like, I'm just doing the schedule. Like, you and your feelings right now. This is the summer." And immediately after we beat NC State, he said, "Didn't I tell you we were going to win that game?" Now, we're walking to the presser. And he was like, "Didn't I tell you we were going to beat them?" And it was so personal to him because he was a Raleigh kid as well, and he felt like they had passed him over. You know, whatever his motivating factors was, that's what it was. And I think the NC State game gave us a confidence, an inner confidence, and an inner belief that we could beat anyone. But probably the most important game of that year was Appalachian State, because right after we beat NC State, we had to turn around and play Appalachian State on that Friday. So we had to emotionally recover from that win and play App State, and we ended up beating App State in overtime. And we had another good win by going to beat Old Dominion. And the turning point of that season was we lost our first game of conference to FAMU. We were up 13 and lost the basketball game. It's my fault, and nobody's fault but mine. And we could hear them celebrating through the walls. It was almost like they won the championship. It was the first conference game of the year. And it was almost like they rushed the court like it was crazy. And I made our guys stay out there and watch it. And I made our guys listen to them celebrate. And I said, if you don't want to feel this again, you know what you have to do. And we won one game, and we won another, and another, and another. We just started stringing consecutive wins together. And we beat Bethune by 20 points at home, but we didn't play well at all. And, you know, it's tough at North Carolina Central, man. You got, you know, everyone telling you you're great. You got attractive girls there. After the game, it's probably a party or something, you know. So they walking up in the party. They just won by 20. Forget what Coach saying. Keisha said I look cute on the court, you know. So I'm fighting that. And the next day is a Sunday. And we play FAMU tomorrow on the Monday. And on the next day of that Sunday, I flipped on Poobie and Jeremy Ingram. And it's the day before a game, and I made the whole team run because I said, I don't like your attitudes. And what I was really doing was just challenging them to see how much they had grown up. I said, I don't like your attitudes, and you came in here like you're on top of the world, like you done won a championship. We ain't won nothing, blah, 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 blah. And Poobie said, I said, quit if you don't care. He said, we do care. And he's barking back at me, and inside I'm loving it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm pressing fire in their belly. The next night we played a team, FAMU, that defeated us the first game of the year. They beat us by 2 points the first game of the year. We beat them by 50 points the following Monday. And it was like every time they called the timeout, we up 15. Our guys are coming to the huddle, say, keep your foot on their throat. Then we up 20. Keep your foot on their throat. Like, it was almost like we were down 20 the way we were playing. And then we played A&T, and we beat them by 48 because they had beat us the year before in the tournament. And I just knew that was a different level of maturity with our team, man. That was a special squad. I should have videotaped practices. I could have turned that into a reality show because practices were so competitive, man, and we were fortunate to win the championship and, make history and be the lowest seed to ever enter a tournament for a black college or HBCU team, and the most wins in HBCU history and the highest RPI HBCU history. Like, it was an incredible basketball team, man. So I get too much credit for that. I had some really good basketball players, man.
You did, man. You guys did a heck of a job that season, man. I can remember watching y'all in the tournament playing against Iowa State, and I was at a frat meeting, man, and the bruhs was trying to pull me away from the TV because I'm watching the Central game like I went to school there. It was crazy, man. But you guys were in the game, basically the entire game.
Yeah. They wore us down in the end because you know what? Here's the thing. 2 weeks before that tournament, I'm laying in my bed at night and I'm watching ESPN. And Iowa State is playing Kansas on TV. And I say to myself, like, I'm just watching the game, I'm like, dang, I hope we'll never have to play them. That's a tough matchup, right? So 2 weeks later, after we win the MEAC, we have Selection Show Sunday. And they got the cameras all on you on CBS. You know how they do. And we're waiting for the announcement to see who we play. And I said, there's 2 teams I just don't want to play, and that's Iowa State and Louisville. Not because we were scared, just because it's all about matchups. We ain't match up well against those guys. Iowa State's point guard was 6'6", 215 pounds. Poobie was 6'1", 150 pounds. So that was just a mismatch. And sure enough, they say Iowa State will be taking on the Eagles of North Carolina Central. I was like, oh, so they had the camera on us, so we had to stand up and clap because we were excited. But inside, I'm thinking, like, how are we going to guard these dudes right here? It was the one, and we played as great as we could play, and I think we were down 4 or 6 at halftime. And I thought we were scoring at will, but we just couldn't stop them because they were so good, man. And the kid, George Yang, who they have now, he was incredible. And he ended up breaking his foot at the end of our game. And to tell you how good they were, they beat North Carolina without him the next game. So they were really good, man, and it was a joy to watch them. And it was a great run by us and something that we'll cherish forever. But I felt like if we would have played anybody else, we would have defeated them.
But I remember thinking the same thing because their size, I remember them getting just a lot of second chance opportunities on you guys because the length that they had just was, it was just far superior to that you all had. But, it's the nature of the beast when you're going against Big 12 team and, the trees that they had. It was a lot to try to overcome.
Right, absolutely, man. And that on that level, when you're coaching against pros and those things, it's just a different. Like, you cannot simulate length, man. Like, it's hard to simulate a 6'5" point guard doing the things that he does. You don't have that on your team, so you can't practice that. And unfortunately, you can only experience that from trial by error. But we fought, and I was proud of our kids, man. We represented extremely well.
Now, Coach, you spoke earlier about, reaching the age of 40, how, you're a grown man and but relatively speaking, you're still young, for a coach, for a head coach. And you've been widely regarded by pundits, other coaches, as one of the best young coaches in America. Coach K, Roy, Calipari, they all have glowing things to say about you. But, being that you're still pretty young, does that help you on the recruiting trail to try to get into the minds of these young kids? I mean, and it doesn't hurt that you hang out with LeBron or John Wall. That doesn't hurt at all, right? I mean, come on, Coach, it doesn't hurt.
It absolutely helps, man. When you're recruiting, you try to just use everything to your advantage. You try to be as relatable as possible because the thing about this generation of kids, and I'm figuring this out too, they want to be directly connected to you. We didn't want when I say when I played, we didn't want to be directly connected to our coach. Like, when I walked in the gym, if he came out his office, I said, hey, and I went to the left, he went to the right, and I didn't want to see him again. That's just how we were. These kids, they want to come in your office, which is okay. They want to sit there for 2 hours and just talk. Then they want to come to your home and just sit there for 2 more hours and just talk. Like, they need that nurturing umbrella. And I had to adjust because I certainly wasn't used to that, because we coach kids how we were coached. We parent how we were parented.
Right,
That's just human nature. And I wasn't accustomed to that, so I had to do a lot of adjusting and say, this generation is just a little more needy. That's the word I would use. They're just more needy. They need, they're not really secure by themselves. They're not used to or accustomed to being alone. So they want to spend a lot of time with you. And I just really had to make that adjustment, man. So to answer the question, anytime and as much as you can possibly be relatable to these kids, you got to. Anything you can use to your advantage, you got to use it.
Especially with social media, Instagram, Twitter, all those social media sites. I mean, all the kids, all the recruits are on social media. Now, I do follow you on Twitter. You have become very popular, very famous for your shoes, for your kicks, man. You haven't really put the kicks of the day up lately now, Coach Moton. What's going on, man?
You know what? I'm gonna get back to that, man. Since you said that, I gotta get back to that. I'm gonna do that this week, just for you, man.
I mean, because, Coach, I saw a pair of your kicks on Twitter. I went and got a pair.
My wife is trying to make me throw away, I think we all have proclivities, man. We all have vices, that one thing that just, tempts us. I've never been a dude that's been enamored by cars and jewelry and all of those things, but growing up, I had one pair of shoes, and I always said, man, if I ever get an opportunity to just have multiple shoes, I'm a sneakerhead. And I always adored shoes, but I just couldn't afford them. And now I'm at the point where, I got a great deal with Nike, and they shout out to Nike. They take great care of me. And my wife went inside my closet one day and she said, look, man, let me talk to you. She got over 400 pairs of sneakers in here, man. Like, she counted them. She was like, let me talk to you, man. Like, you gotta do something about this, because our closet is ridiculous, and I have just thrown to her side. Like, I've just taken completely over her side. So what I do, man, after 2 times I wear the shoes and I just give them to my brothers and cousins and stuff like that. So, it's become a good thing. But I need to put the sneak peek back up, man, and I will.
We are on the line with head coach Levelle Moton of the North Carolina Central Eagles men's basketball team. A living legend, Pierre.
Daimeon, look, head coach Levelle Moton has taken over the show.
He definitely has. Coach, and though you guys are not in the tournament this year, man, what do you think about the first weekend of the tournament? I mean, it's usually a couple upsets, man, but the first weekend was just crazy, man.
Right. Well, here's the thing, and I was telling a good friend of mine this the other day. When you are in the business, you are very much aware of all the teams that's playing, because you have competed against them or seen them play up close and personal, and you know their style. In that tournament, man, the best team don't win it 9 times out of 10. It's the styles. So if you meet someone who's your kryptonite, then there's a case you may be going home early. And with that said, I don't think it was necessarily upsets. As far as I'm concerned, to the general public, this name school is probably more known than that name school, so therefore that's an upset. But Michigan State and Middle Tennessee, I knew that would be a tough game for for Michigan State, because Michigan State their mantra has always been toughness. And anyone they can out-tough, they're going to win that game, hands down. Izzo is the best at that. But I know Middle Tennessee. I know Kermit really well. Ronnie Hamilton, their assistant coach, is a great friend. They are a tough basketball team. So it was almost like Michigan State was playing their little brothers, right? I've seen Northern Iowa up close and personal gazillion times. You see how good they are. What else was the upset?
Arkansas, Little Rock. I mean, Purdue just blew it, though. I mean, you up 13 with 3:33 left.
But see, the thing about Arkansas, Little Rock, my assistant coach for the last 2 years, Brian Berg, he took the associate head job up there at Arkansas Little Rock. He's an incredible recruiter.